Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. My friends, I'm back in the saddle. Holy smokes. Lots to talk about this morning and another amazing guest. This gentleman is a family business owner who's turned his passion into profit by helping others online and with his online marketing business. Let's get right into this. JC, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me. Honored to be here. Appreciate it.
Hey man, it's my pleasure. First time guest, huh? I don't
Yes,
recall. Yeah, nice, man.
definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, I stumbled across Legendary, and we can get into it. But about 8 months ago, and obviously watched the show, and it's a privilege to be here. I appreciate it.
Hey man, my pleasure. It's always nice to talk to new people, and I'm glad it's a milestone for you too to kind of have got, this kind of makes it real too when you come on and talk about it. I mean, if I would have actually I did do this. It's kind of interesting. When I was brand new on on the internet. This was back, God, so many years ago. Nearly 15 now. I have it saved somewhere, but I actually got interviewed by this marketing community I was a part of. And man, it was a huge deal. It was a huge deal. And I was younger than you are. I was 24. I assume that's younger than you are. You look
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
38.
young stud, but um, and yeah, it was a big deal, man. It was a big deal for me. And so I remember kind of what that felt like. It kind of made it real. I was like, wow, somebody like notices me and what I'm doing, what I'm accomplishing here. Hopefully this show is that for other people, as well. What's it kind of like to be here for you? How would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, getting an invite, right? Having you and your team reach out, it shows that the consistency and the efforts that I've been putting in are recognized, right? And as a business owner, multiple business owners, or owner in the past, consistency is like the number one thing that needs to exist, right? And then everything else will follow. And this is one of those pieces of recognition that felt really good. To be invited on such a show as this, and to have the opportunity to share my story, to talk with you, to talk to the community, which is something that I am really passionate about, community with my other businesses and all that. So it's it's a really cool milestone, and again, just grateful, to be here.
Good for you, man. Well, here is me.
Nice.
Here is me, nearly 15 years ago.
Boom. Hey, My Lead System Pro, it's great to have you here. It is the beginning of the month. David Sharpe, right? It's your fourth month.
We can use My Lead System Pro, excuse me, so we don't have to wander aimlessly around, the streets and shopping malls and stuff like that. But I was wandering around on the internet. And
I was promoting network marketing products
Yep.
to training two network marketers. This particular company is no longer around. It was called My Lead System Pro, and they essentially helped us to learn how to generate leads for our network marketing or MLM businesses through kind of selling training to other network marketers and doing
Yep.
affiliate marketing, selling
Yep.
picks and shovels.
Yep.
That's what I was doing.
The sales page.
Did I hear like a piano in the background in the beginning of that? Like something?
How was that experience?
Maybe.
Sign up.
Marketing's not for everybody.
I just am tripping out because, back then there was so much. This was a phase that I was like really big imposter syndrome, and I was really big, act as if, man. I mean, I was sitting in a house that, it was, basically in foreclosure. I didn't own the house. I was renting it. Here's a level down for you. It wasn't even my house that was in foreclosure. It was the landlord was in
Oh,
foreclosure,
man.
and I was renting it from her, right? So I was getting like a discounted price because it was in foreclosure. My dad, who I had moved in with a few months prior, I had at this time had a girlfriend, so we wanted to live together. And this house had a mother-in-law suite, or as we called it, a father-in-law suite.
Yep.
It was this kind of rundown, thing in the back. My dad actually lived back there. We lived on it was just, I worked construction in this house. I was in the middle of my living room in this house. My desk was between the living room and the dining room table, smack dab in the middle of the living room.
Yep.
So this is kind of my beginning of my entrepreneurial career. What describe yours, and from both your business perspective that you did before, but also what is it like? Contrast that or compare that to the similarities of you starting this business brand new as a newbie, if you will.
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I've had experience in a bunch of different businesses, but also, I worked for quote unquote the man. I spent 8 years with Apple prior to getting into business. Even before that, I owned a painting business with a buddy after I basically failed out of college. Then he ended up, having some stuff come up and we had to liquidate that business. And then I wanted to be a musician. So from an entrepreneurial standpoint, like starting a business, it's always scary. I think starting in the beginning and the imposter syndrome, I think that's the number one objection, if you will, or number one reason why people don't start something, because they feel like they're not good enough. But you're never going to get good enough unless you take action, unless you try, right? And you fail, because there's been a number of things that I've tried and failed. Fortunately, you put enough effort into some things and they win, like the gym that we owned, right? Like we bought into a gym. I got the first month EFT after we bought in from the 30 members that existed. And I said to my wife, I'm like, we're screwed. Like, we just made an investment in this, and what are we going to do now? And so we just had to grind and grind and grind and work and work and work and put the effort in. And then back to that consistency piece, right? And then we had a profitable exit 3.5 years later after we had our first child. And so this business has kind of been the same thing. One, I've been obsessed with marketing for as long as I can remember, but do you remember this goes way back, like the start of the internet, right? Like AOL welcome, you have your chat rooms and all that stuff. But then after that, once you were able to do web browsing and all of that, there were two sites called GeoCities and AngelFire. Do you remember those? All right. So these were the original Squarespace.
You were on the internet before I was, I think.
Got it.
Even though you're a year or two younger than me, I think you came on the internet. Remember, dude, I was, I got clean and sober in 2008. And
yeah,
then
man, love that too. Keep going, dude.
Yeah, I worked construction. Thank you. Worked construction for a year-ish. So I didn't really come online until about 2009. Got it.
Yeah. So high school, I graduated in 2004. I just skipped my 20-year reunion. It's crazy. But all through that time, there were these two website builders, quote unquote, called AngelFire and GeoCities, right? And they were virtual copycats of each other, but you had to know HTML and you had to know how to code to build these blogs and websites. And I was obsessed with doing that, right? And so then, fast forward 20 years, I've always had an interest in this type of stuff. And then I stumble across, my story's not much different than most people. You stumble across somebody that's, at the time when I stumbled across it, it was income claim. There was a lot of that marketing. And I was like, I want to prove to myself that not only can I do this again, right? Establish another business again and be successful with it. But also as cliche as it sounds, I love to help other people and serve other people. And so if I can learn these skills, not only can I, prove to myself that I'm capable of building another business, but also serve a whole bunch of people in the process. So that's a long kind of journey to answer that question. But, that's kind of what lands us here, today. So I have a question for you too. So you mentioned, in that video, imposter syndrome, right? And we all I think a lot of people struggle with that. So what were some of the things that you did to not only get up the courage to attend that initial call, but then overcome that as the years have gone by? And then what do you attribute? I mean, how has that, contributed to your success?
How did I get over the imposter syndrome? Yeah. I mean, I don't know that you really ever do fully. I'm a regular person, man. I mean, I think people put me and others on a pedestal as if we're not human. And I still have imposter syndrome. Still have anxieties and insecurities. Are they the same? No. Can they have the same intensity? Yes. Yes. And that's what I think we all, when we come in, fantasize and compare to other people, that they no longer have those same intense feelings. In my experiences, they just evolve into new imposter syndromes.
Yep.
Because you're always trying to, as you become successful, level up, get in a new room, get around new people, achieve new things. And so you're now going to be comparing yourself to a different crowd.
That's right.
And so I now don't compare myself to people who are new. I compare myself to people who have been doing this for 15 or 20 years. And they're good, man. I mean, if somebody's lasted 15, even if somebody's lasted a few, 2 to 5 years in this game, in any business, they're good at what they do.
No doubt.
They've evolved, and they've practiced, and they've become, they've become experienced, and they're professional. They've put in their 10,000 hours. And so I'm comparing myself to Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I'm comparing myself to Russell Brunson.
Yep.
I'm comparing myself to Alex Hormozy. I'm comparing myself to think of any other big dog, and I may have compared myself to them. So I think that for me, I kind of have fallen in love with the challenge of, can I accomplish this? And I think all high achievers and high performers mold themselves into falling in love with the process instead of falling addicted to the game instead of addicted to the score or winning. Because, I mean, look at every single champion, every single GOAT. You look at Tom Brady, you think he won 6. I think he's got 6 rings. Am I correct? Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But how many seasons did he play? He didn't play 6 seasons. He played 20 seasons. I mean, look at LeBron James. He's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. And he's got, I think 3 or 4 rings. Guy's definitely in his 20th season. He came into the league when he was 18 and he's 39. That's kind of what how I would answer that question, is that I fall in love with the process, in the process both of growing my business, but more so growing myself into the person who can run with that next level of people. And I just have found that if you play around people who are better than you, you get better. You ever play sports? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we owned a CrossFit gym, right? And so for a while, I was doing competitive at the level that I was able to compete at CrossFit. And anytime there was a better athlete in the gym, right, I performed better in that said workout, because you have that elevate. Or like if I'm on the golf course and I'm playing with a single digit handicap, I'm inevitably going to play better golf. Like it just happens, know? And I love what you said too, like the level up thing. So not only is it like, comparison can be challenging sometimes, because, you're comparing yourself to people that are further along, but that also is motivation, right? To continue to play the game and reflect on the things that you've done well and the things that you haven't done well, but also like even in self comparison and self leveling up. So like, for example, and I'll bring it back to fitness, you know, I don't know if anybody out there on the audience knows what the assault bike is or the Rogue Echo bike, but that bike is terrible, right? So you ride this thing, it's got 1 speed, and like you never get any better at it, even though you get better at it, right? You're just a different level of where you were previously. And so, you know, that's kind of what I see as, you know, being a parent, owning a business, you know, getting and staying in shape, like literally anything. Like it's just, you're just, I saw James Clear speak a couple of months ago, Atomic Habits. You know, he talked about just getting 1% better, and it's true, right? Like if you can focus on those little incremental wins along the way, you know, for me, that's enough recognition to know that things are working. And then something like this happens, and I end up on a show, you know, that hundreds of thousands of people are going to see, and I'm talking to a legend in the space, right? So like, you know, it's just, that's really cool.
Yeah. And yeah, this example, like that CrossFit or fitness example, is a great example. I mean, you know, at the beginning, it's going to feel uncomfortable. If you walk into the gym and you're, you know, out of shape, it's like there's going to be some kind of shame that you're going to have to battle. If you're not going to, you may look at the most fit guy or girl in the gym, and yeah, you can compare yourself to them, but really you need to not punish yourself. You know, you need to compare yourself to the people who are kind of at your, you know, at your level, if you will. And you know, you don't want to punish yourself. You don't want to be unfair to yourself. You just want to challenge yourself, because you're already this process is going to bring up all of your insecurities. I mean, it's like walking into a new school, man, as a kid, like
freshman in high school. Remember that?
You know what I mean? Remember that feeling of either
like, am I going to forget my locker combination? And I mean, I had paper schedules, right? So like I had a paper schedule. We didn't have iPhones back when I was a freshman in high school. Like I was like, shoot, what if I lose my schedule? I'm not going to show up to class on time. I don't want to be embarrassed.
Right. Yeah. So like starting a new business, putting yourself out there on the internet. But even if you know, no matter what you do I mean, talk about CrossFit or opening a gym, you're still going to have people coming in. You're going to have imposter syndrome. Am I good enough? Am I qualified? Are people going to want to work out at my gym? Are people going to, I mean, so people think that this is like the only thing where you're going to face that imposter syndrome. No, everything you do, if you challenge yourself to do something new, is going to, you're going to brush up against your imposter syndrome, your insecurity. And that is why so many billions of people in this world don't do new shit 100%. And don't push themselves and live a mediocre life. That is why.
And it's challenging, and they're afraid of failure.
Yeah. I mean,
and you're going to fail.
Yeah. You gotta, I mean, my experience just is that I gotta, while pushing myself and knowing that I'm going to up level myself with other people and it's going to be uncomfortable, I also need to not like purposefully shame myself or put myself into situations that I have no chance of winning. So if I'm brand new and you're comparing yourself to somebody who's like one of the most talented marketers online, or they're crushing it, you know, that's dumb. That's dumb. And so many people do that. Find people that are at your speed. For me, I had a group of people when I first started that network marketing training company I just showed the interview of. And ironically, you know, none of them are still around. You know, actually one guy is a guy named Lawrence, who lived in Texas, Asian guy. He's still around. But everybody else, like, I was the winner out of that heat. You know what I mean? Like if it was a race, like I won that. Everybody else dropped off. And so I was able to kind of be like, okay, still standing, right? And then level up and find a new group of people to kind of run with and compare myself with. So I think you got to push yourself, but not purposefully shame yourself, right? Again, going back to that gym example of, am I walking into the gym, 50 pounds overweight, I haven't worked out ever, and am I going to look at the most fit person in the gym and compare myself? That's just stupid.
Yeah.
But you can look at other people, and we do this naturally as humans, and say, okay, I'm doing better than them. or at least I'm showing up, or you can see the effort that somebody else has given and you say, well, I'm going to give a little more effort than that, right? There's all kinds of little hacks.
And I think from a mindset standpoint too, like, and I struggle with this, managing self-expectation, right? Because like, as somebody that aspires to next level, like sometimes you have to, use self-awareness and manage what those self-expectations are, right? So like if you even now, if I walk into a gym and I see a top level athlete, like, sure, I'm fit, but like, I need to manage the expectation that I don't train like they do. I probably don't eat the same that they do. I'm not in the gym and doing the volume that they're doing, like all of those things. Same thing with marketing, right? Like I can't look at an account with 500,000 to 1 million followers and then wonder why I'm not getting 30,000 to 50,000 views every single video that I put out, every single reel that I put out.
And I think that you're finding that you can actually do a lot without getting 20, 30, 50,000 views per video. So talk to us a little bit about making, big money or decent money from a small audience or smaller audience. I mean, on Instagram, you're hovering almost to 7,000 followers, but you're already doing affiliate marketing. You're selling, from what you wrote in your questionnaire when we invited you on, marketing agency services to local businesses, doing some one-on-one coaching, have a private free community. So talk to us a little bit about like what have you realized about needing these huge numbers in order to launch your business and have a successful, you're in your first year, right, of doing this?
Yeah. It's, I started end of Q3, early Q4. So this would be like 8 months.
So talk to us about what you can accomplish from your perspective in the first year on your way to building up to be a super influencer or marketer. You're on that journey right now, but you're not like, oh, I can't do anything. You're selling stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So like, I think it goes back to serving, right? So like I had success early on. I, was interested in this by the hooks that were out there online. Then I found Legendary. I did the 15-day challenge that you have, which was spectacular. It gave me a ton of information because I've built businesses before. I said, all right, I'm going to take action. I'm going to do this and I'm probably going to fail. I posted my very first reel but even before I became a Legendary affiliate, right? So then growth was slow. I think at like 221 followers, I ended up with my very first, quote unquote, high ticket, affiliate commission. And then it just continued to grow. And like by having meaningful conversations, and that commission came as a result of like literally jumping on a call with somebody, understanding what they needed, and then directing them to like, hey, I think that this education is going to literally be the best thing for you to start your business that helps women that have, struggled with abuse in their early teens into their late teens, and how to overcome that. So like she wasn't even looking to get into digital marketing, right? And by having that conversation, being real with that person, understanding what they were looking to accomplish and how they were looking to accomplish it, she still needed the skill set. And so by having that conversation, I was able to have that success early on. And since then, it's been the same thing, right? Serving people in a way that they need help. For the businesses that I help, it was really about focusing on learning the actual skills, right? Because anybody can post a number on a screen and say how much money they've made. In fact, they can lie about all that stuff and, do all that, right? That's easy. And I don't think that's marketing. In my opinion, marketing is being able to go to a business and say, hey, your business is here. I can help you get here. Here's the roadmap. And that's how we're going to do it, right? Here's the journey you're going to take to get there. And the other cool thing is once you understand those skills, you can monetize the heck out of this because guess what? A business always needs new sales. Always. A business will always need new sales. In fact, my dad, family business, I work very closely with him. Very fortunate to have that opportunity. I certainly paid my dues, worked with him for a long time. But he said early on in his career that his boss that he reported to before he had this business, he said, you know what fixes, majority of the problem for businesses is more sales, So yeah. And I mean, since then, I've worked with people one-on-one. I established a free community. And I think all of that stuff really helps me, one, understand how to help people. And two, it helps me introduce, what I believe is the best solution in the market. And you've proven that historically, so we don't even like anybody that argues that doesn't really make much sense to me. But
yeah, I love the get in and get it and get it off the ground. And that's, you mentioned our 50-day challenge. We evolved that into a 5-day challenge. Yep. and called it the learn, launch, lead.
Yep.
And that's really what it comes down to. You got to learn, you got to spend some time learning, not years, not even months, but you got to just spend a little bit of time to learn what the hell you're doing. Sort of like you would when you go to a gym, and if you've never worked out before, you need to just get a tour of the gym. You need to understand how to work the machine so you don't drop something on your chest. You got to kind of understand that you should stretch and warm up a little bit so you don't tear a muscle, and just kind of get some basics, mechanics under your belt. Understand it doesn't take a lot of time. It's just a little bit of time at the beginning so you can understand the basics. And then you actually got to launch. I mean, I'm just using analogies. I actually posted a video on my Instagram the other day about the power, like what is value, and analogies are value. And so I'm giving you all analogies because, you own a gym, and I'm using gym analogies right now, because you should always change the analogy that you use based on who you're talking to. You put it into context of people that you're talking to so they understand it. Anyways, going back to my learn, launch, lead example, imagine somebody came into a gym and learned how to use the equipment, how to warm up, the basics of mechanics, and just so you don't break your shoulder. And they spent the time to do that, however long that was. Remember, they've never worked out before, so they just needed that learning lesson. Maybe it was 15 minutes, maybe it was 30 minutes, maybe it was whatever. You usually get that tour when you first go to check out a gym. The manager, the salesperson walks you around the gym and then ask, have you ever worked out before? No. Okay, well, we do have personal training sessions, and you go to one personal training session and they just give you the basics of warming up in safety. And then imagine this. So you learned, then you never come back to the gym.
Yeah.
So launching, actually coming back to the gym and working out, right? Okay, you've worked out. Now you launched, you're learning some stuff. Now, all of a sudden, a couple of months later, you come into the gym and you're leading. You're
yoked. Yeah.
You're seeing some results. You got a little swag. Now, you're not maybe selling. I mean, I'm using the gym analogy, so maybe you're not coming in slanging wares and products, but somebody needs a spot. They go to you. I got you. Hey, can you spot me? You're not going to go to somebody who doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground and ask for a spot. They might break it on, drop it on your head. But now you're a leader. So you learn, you launch, you lead.
Yep.
And so many people come into this business and either skip the learning, skip it all, or learn but never launch. What was it like for you to go from learning to actually launching, putting that first video out there, and then finding topics to talk about within your marketing?
Yeah, I mean, it was overwhelming, right? Because like I had built businesses, so I understood the concept of how to build a business, right? All of that, but then like social media, I just posted pictures on my private Instagram of my family every now and then. I never made like Instagram reels and like all that stuff. So of course it's scary. And then like, what do I talk about, and how do I position myself in the market that makes sense for other people? personally, both, I mean, in my career, with my businesses, I'm a big believer in like investing in things and coaches and having mentors and like all of that stuff. And so one of the things, you know, that I did was I brought on a mentor for myself, specifically related to social media. And he is an amazing human being, a big part of Legendary. And, you know, I feel like the launch part of things, I just put myself out there and was okay with knowing that like I was going to fail. I'll tell you a story real quick. So there was a period of time where I felt like I had everything dialed in. And this was like, I don't know, 3 months, 90 days into this thing. I'm posting like 3 reels a day. Like, I'm like, yeah, this is going really good. Then all of a sudden, like something happened with the platform. And for 2 weeks straight, 3 posts a day, I had maximum 65 views each. And so like people reach that part in the launch phase. And then they're like, all right, that's it. I'm done. And they don't make adjustments and they don't reflect and they don't figure out, like, they don't push through that stuff. And for me, it was just another day. Like I committed to doing this, to being consistent, to like wanting this to succeed, to wanting to help people. And so that part of the launch process was super important for me because I was able to figure out how to manage the ups and downs, just like sales in my other business, right? Some months are like really awesome. And then other months it's like, cool, well, we need to adjust and figure out how to move forward. Same thing.
Sorry.
There he is.
Yeah, it is an adjustment period as you move forward. I love just the, you know, things are going to change. Things on the platform are going to change. Things, you know, things that once worked are no longer going to work. I mean, markets evolve, businesses evolve. I mean, things change, and technology is sort of like, in my opinion, like internet marketing is like the most, it's like if I was to give another analogy about the opportunity that's here, it's like a really super high volatile growth stock there's kind of 2 different kinds of stock businesses that you can invest in. There's value businesses that just kind of like Johnson & Johnson or Coke. They just kind of chug along. They're consumer products. People buy them over and over again. They're pretty steady Eddie. And they don't go up and down, fluctuate super high. Then you got growth stocks like Tesla, where, man, that sucker might be way up, and you might, or Nvidia, right? Like Nvidia, this last year or 2 has been crazy. So you got those high super. Facebook's another growth stock. I remember at the end of 2023, Facebook just took a nosedive.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was like, oh my God, you know, Facebook is good. But I mean, smart people bought. And so internet marketing is kind of the same thing. It's like this super volatile growth stock to where you could be doing something and just crushing it. I mean, just, you know, whether it be a particular type of video that you're using or posting, or you find a style and approach to your video or marketing, or you find a particular way to deliver your message, like to amp up your personality, or to come at it from a unique style that nobody's really else is doing. And people just love it, and they take on to it, and it just goes viral, and people just, I mean, I think the funnel concept has been like super profitable over the last like 8 to 10 years. Like it used to be websites, and just, it's been funnels over the past, you know, like I said, 8 to 10 years so far. And it's just, they just crush, they just do so much better than traditional websites where people come in, they just shop around and then leave. You don't collect any information.
Give them one thing to do.
Give them one thing to do, and build that email list, and then follow up with them. That's been like finding a huge valley of gold.
And that own traffic never, like, I mean, of course you're going to unsubscribes, but like then you're not dependent on a platform.
Now you own
you
your
literally
traffic.
do whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is a great example in internet marketing, how you can have huge opportunity, but then at the same time, like you just mentioned, a platform could make a change. You could have an account deactivated. You could have something. I remember when we were advertising and you used to be able to just crush it with Facebook ads. The same way that when I came on the internet 15 years ago, Google AdWords, it was like printing money. Nobody was doing it. Remember that?
Yep.
Google AdWords, and then internet marketers got on it and affiliate marketers, and there was all this duplicate content, and Google just slapped everybody.
Yep.
Just deactivated everybody's accounts and said, and it was called the Google slap in the marketing industry. And people's income just in one night just went from crushing it to nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you could be, there was like double digit percentage margins, and then so 30, 40, 50, 60% margins based on your ad spend, cost to acquire a customer, right? But then overnight, like disappeared, single digits, if not negative, right? Net negative margin now on your cost to acquire a customer.
But that's the game. I mean, if you want to be a business owner and you want to just a steady Eddie, low profit, super you ain't going to get rich quick, and you may never get rich, but you're going to just kind of have a steady Eddie business. I mean, go buy a vending machine route, like there's other entrepreneurial ventures that you could get into if you just, it's about understanding what the hell you're getting into and realizing that there is insane growth potential with internet marketing. I mean, you could have 1 year. I've seen people in the last few years, their first year, they made more money in their first year than I made in my first 5 years, or maybe 6. I mean, it was insane.
Yep.
It's just like, because they just built a huge audience and nailed down their message and their approach and their content, and people loved it and wanted to watch it. And maybe also in that same respect, maybe they did something in it and it also dropped. It's big ebbs and flows. So that's the thing about internet marketing, is you got to realize that there's huge opportunity here, but you also are, going back to your comment a few moments ago, you're going to have to pivot. You're going to have to adjust. You can't cry and complain and be a victim when your easy street, if you ever strike gold or oil, dries up and you got to go drill another spot and kind of pivot and find a new strategy.
I think the other thing too about starting your own digital marketing business, whether that's affiliate marketing, agency style stuff, like whatever it is, owning a business in general, if you are the owner of that business, it's lonely. There's nobody that's telling you, that's patting you on the back every day, good job, like giving you the recognition. And a lot of people need that recognition, and that's fair. That's okay. Right. But like recognizing that starting any business, you're going to be put in a position where like there's days where you do not want to do anything. And those are the days that you have to dig in and do it the most, because nobody's going to do it for you. And so that's why Tom Brady has, however many Super Bowl rings he has, because he showed up on the days that his arm hurt and he still put the work in. Right. I mean, it's one of my original mentors, and I'm going to bring it back to what we talked about in the beginning. One of my original mentors at Apple, right? I started at Apple part-time. I think I was making like $10.50 an hour, right? Like started very, very beginning, right out of like, I went to school for music recording. I have an associate's degree in music recording. So if you play in a band, I can make you sound really good. Get a job, $10.50 an hour. And this new guy gets hired at this business, and he pulls me aside. I had long hair, like to here. And he goes, "Hey man, I just want to let you know that like, if you want to be a leader, you need to operate with consistency in everything that you do." And I was like, who the heck is this guy to tell me that? Right. So what he meant was stop showing up hungover, like get yourself together, like all of those things. And as soon as I recognized the value in that and put my ego aside and recognize the value in consistency, that's been the driving force for, it helps you succeed in everything, as long as you look at the things that you're doing with consistency from a constructive standpoint and pivoting, like you talked about, when the market demands it, or even before the market demands it, to be a leader in the space.
Yeah. I totally think that this game is less about knowing a bunch of stuff and more about just being able to like adjust and be flexible and learn. Like, we got to go back to getting good at learning stuff and being able to implement quickly, instead of thinking the traditional education system has ruined too many of us to think that you have to go to school for 4 years and take a bunch of tests and know everything before you get started. Friends, I want to be very clear about this. If you think you're going to do this for 4 years and then get started, you ain't even going to recognize internet marketing by the time you get started. There's going to be so many different changes. So you really have to get good at learning just enough to be dangerous, and then understand that money loves speed, implement fast, and begin the testing phase, the oh so important testing phase of marketing, where you are going to throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah. So you said money loves speed, right? Think about anything, any offer that exists out there, right? A business isn't going to hire you if you're like, yeah, we'll go through like a 6-month ramp up process. You know, we may get you some leads during that 6 months, but it's probably going to take a year, maybe 24 months before we get you any results. As opposed to, cool, you hire me. Here's a 30-day plan for us to get you going, get your ads set up and running, get your funnel working properly, get your offer ironed out, or so that way, boom, you're getting leads in less than 30 days. Or like, how many offers historically have been like, get abs without working out in 7 days, versus you got to go to the gym, you got to learn all the movements, you got to show up 3 to 5 times a week, you got to eat healthy at home. Like, which one's going to win from a marketing perspective? Money loves speed and action.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And I thankfully understood that and had had the ability to be, I don't know if it was just ignorance, you know what I mean? But I at the beginning, I was just, I don't know if it was desperation. I mean, I think that comfort can also be, JC, something that, like, when you're too comfortable. I remember when I first got started, man, I was poor. I was so poor I couldn't afford to pay attention. I was so poor I couldn't pay my half of the rent with my girlfriend. And there was like no pride. I didn't have pride. This pride that you have when you're like, I guess, semi okay in life. And it's like, I'm not doing that. I think you have to mentally get so broke and just nothing to lose that you don't give a shit about what people think, and that you're able to swallow your pride. What comes up for you around that word in this?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right? Like, going to zero, even if you're not at zero, right? And if you can mentally do that, because for me, like, when I started this thing, I wasn't at zero, right? So I get messages a lot. I know you do too. Like, I need to learn how to make money online, right? And that's like the primary focus. For me, it's and there's like a deeper why, like, I have personal goals, like all that stuff. And I told you, like, figuring out how to build another successful business is like, I love the game. And so for me, that was going back to zero and serving people everything else becomes a byproduct. Like that money stuff becomes a byproduct. Now, I think, especially to the messages that I get that are like, I need to pay rent this month. Well, cool. You can learn how to do this, but you should also get a job to pay the rent, right? Like because building a business takes time. But yeah, I mean, pride never wins. I mean, there's a book out there called Ego is the Enemy, which is a really good book, right? As soon as you get out of your own way, you're going to be in a position where you're able to self-reflect and learn from all the things that you're doing, and then make things better.
Yeah. What have you learned about yourself in this particular journey here, the online internet marketing journey?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned that it takes time, that you have to make adjustments, that taking action, even though you may not know exactly what you're doing, is going to help you learn to do things better. And that if you focus on giving and serving first, that everything else becomes a byproduct. Like if you truly go out there to serve other people and help other people and are genuine with it, that it will always come back.
Yeah. Great episode, man. Great episode. Awesome chatting, and looking absolutely forward to doing it again. I know everybody enjoyed it too, man. People were, going crazy in the comments here. So thank you all listening for the amazing feedback and, awesome support and great comments and engagement. I learned a lot here talking to you, and I know everybody else did as well, JC. So come back and see me real soon, brother, and keep up the great work.
Yeah, man. Definitely will. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you to everybody that jumped on, and looking forward to doing this again. Appreciate you.
Stay legendary, my friend.
See ya.
Bye. All right, my friends, you can find JC over on Instagram at Fit Dad Affiliate. Fit Dad Affiliate. All one word, spelled exactly how it sounds. All right, my friends. What a great episode. Awesome way to start the day. It's Wednesday, isn't it? Middle of the week. Some people call this hump day. Happy hump day. I don't know what that means. I guess the hump in the week, right? Or maybe get your mind out of the gutter. Oh, wait, maybe my mind was in the gutter. Anyways, it's just another day here in Entrepreneurville. Legendary marketer. 7 days a week is when people are spending money on the internet. So build yourself a business that operates 7 days a week, even if you're not sitting in front of your phone or computer every day. If you want to get a text message or a messenger reminder when we go live here on Facebook, then go ahead on over to, I'm going to post it in the comments as well so you can actually click it. Get on our notification list there on Messenger, and we'll send you a little notification as soon as we go live at 10 a.m. Eastern time here on Facebook. I just put the link there. Basically, it's legendarymarketer.com/WUL for Wake Up Legendary. You can just type that into your browser if you're listening to this, and it'll send you right to that notification list on Facebook, legendarymarketer.com/WUL. If you want to get started with any of our programs, challenge, blueprints, come to a mastermind, go to legendarymarketer.com/enroll, ENROLL. And if you want a free complimentary coaching call around accountability, then email me at dave@legendarymarketer.com. We're happy to help with a free complimentary call to help you to get some strategy around being accountable and actually launching. We want you to use what you learn. There's no more training that we have to sell you. It's not about more training. It's about using what you have, implementing, and getting in that launch phase. We started a 6-month accountability mentorship program. Of course, we'll give you details on that. You can decide if that's a good fit for you, but you can email me for a free session with one of our accountability coaches here within our company, and I'll hook you up with that. Email me at dave@legendarymarketer.com. Just say free call in the subject line, and I'll make that happen. Again, you can find JC, our guest today, over at Fit Dad Affiliate on Instagram. Go and follow him, catch up with his journey, learn, listen. Great conversation this morning. He's full of lots of wisdom, tips, and experience. You can follow me over on Instagram at David Sharpe _official. David Sharpe _official. All right, my friends, get out of here. That was for Jay. I was so, engaged in the conversation. I wasn't even throwing my hat here today, but damn, that was a hat throw episode. Get out of here, my friends. Have a fantastic Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Peace.